So this.
Welcome back, participants. Now, I request Dr. C. Priscilla, Assistant Professor, to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan.
Good afternoon, one and all gathered here. It is my privilege to introduce our chief speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan, who is a beacon of scholarly excellence and has recently been recognized among top 2% of scientists worldwide in 2024. This prestigious accolade highlights his exceptional dedication to academic excellence and groundbreaking research. Dr. Khan is a distinguished luminary in the field of academia and research. He has published over 60 research articles in Scopus Index journals, authored 10 books, and contributed numerous articles to the academic community. In addition to his extensive research, he actively participates in editorial responsibility, upholding the highest standards of scholarly publishing in today's rapidly evolving academic landscape. Beyond research, conferences and workshops demonstrating the unwavering commitment to knowledge, sharing, and professional development. His remarkable achievements and contributions to the field of business and administration have left an indelible mark on the academic world. As a chair of the College Research Committee at the College of Business, University of Brunei, he has an initiative and fosters a culture of curiosity and innovation vital for the growth. His role as a research fellow in INTI International University further strengthens our international collaboration and enriches the academic community. We are truly honored to have him with us today. With the introduction, I now invite Dr. Shad Ahmad Khan to make this event truly special with this thought-provoking lecture. Thank you. With this brief note, the stage is now yours, Dr. Khan. We eagerly look forward to your insight speech. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I believe it's afternoon already. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this lovely invitation. It's indeed an honor and privilege for me to be here today. Sorry for my voice. I returned from an international travel yesterday, and since then, I'm suffering from cough and cold. But still, commitment is a commitment. Thank you so much, Dr. Fenella Agnes, for inviting me here. It's indeed a great honor and privilege. Thank you so much, Professor Christopher Anthony, for having me here today. Without any further ado, I'll take you through my presentation. And this, we have to understand that when you are organizing a session on sustainable transformation through research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, as a College of Business and Commerce, we need to understand that the new technology and innovations which is coming up on our path, we are not going to create the technology, we are going to use the technology. And this type of thing is very, very important. So therefore, please have an understanding that today my topic is going to be how you can use blockchain technology, how you can use blockchain analytics, and how you can use it through research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So I'll be giving a brief overview. I believe that many of you are aware about blockchain technology. Many of you are not aware about blockchain technology. So I'll try to keep my session very basic so that it is understandable by most of you. And what we'll do is that we'll try to understand, we'll start with what is blockchain, then we'll go for how blockchain works, and then we'll see that how blockchain can be used in the modern scenario where we can use it for sustainable transformation through research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and how we can create new entrepreneurs through blockchain technology. So these are some of the things which I'll be covering today. So let's have a start. So what is a blockchain technology? Let's have an understanding of it. Now, blockchain is actually a decentralized distributed ledger. Since many of you are from commerce, in accounting, there's a ledger. And for ledger, so there are a series of books which are interconnected to each other. So when you record the first transaction, you make a journal entry. So the journal entry is made with first transaction. The second transaction, the same entry goes into a ledger, and then you go for a variety of other accounts, be it trial balance account, be it the final accounts, profit loss statements, and the balance sheet. So if you see all these accounts, if you see, it's a kind of a blockchain which is happening. So there's a journal, there's a ledger, then there are trial balance, then there are final accounts, and then there's a balance sheet. Now, all these accounts are connected to each other. Now, just imagine that when this account gets distributed and it becomes decentralized, where nobody can alter it. Because the problem right now is that one person, if he is in charge of this, he can alter this entire record by himself. But let's imagine that if this book of accounts are with series of people. So when it is a series of people, one person cannot alter it. He has to take consensus from all the other parties which are involved in that transaction so that a alteration can be made. So what is happening now? The same concept is taken up by blockchain. So blockchain, what it does is that it is going to be a kind of a distributed digital ledger where there are transactions which is distributed among variety of computers. Now, one computer cannot change the transaction. It cannot alter the transaction. If one transaction has to be altered, it has to be done by the entire network. And because of that, altering blockchain becomes very, very, very difficult. You must have heard about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually a blockchain technology. There is Ethereum. The Ethereum is actually a blockchain technology. So right now we are using blockchain technology a lot in case of cryptocurrencies, but blockchain, it is actually a very narrow sense to use blockchain only in case of cryptocurrencies, because once I progress with the session, you'll understand that blockchain can be used in variety of fields. It can be done. This is such a technology which has an application almost in every aspect of human life. So that kind of technology it is. So especially the kind of life that we are leading right now. So let's have an understanding what is a blockchain works. So number one, it is decentralized. So it is completely decentralized. One person is not handling it. And second thing is there is distributed ledger. So when the ledger is distributed, what happens is one person cannot alter anything. The entire system has to have a consensus. So the transactions are grouped together in a block. How this block are formed, I will share with the illustration in the next slide. Each block is cryptographically linked with the previous block, and therefore there is a chain. And once a block is added to the chain, it is immutable and cannot be altered without the consensus of the network. And once the blockchain operates on peer-to-peer network, it eliminates the need for intermediaries. So we don't require any intermediaries. The peer-to-peer network is enough for the blockchain to sustain. And that is the reason why in cryptocurrencies, we don't require a central bank. So if you look into the banking system of any country, the banking systems, it is monitored and regulated by one central bank in a country. So all the banks are connected through that particular bank. But in case of blockchain technology, there is a chance of eliminating any intermediaries. You don't require any intermediaries to perform on the blockchain. And let's have an understanding of how blockchain works. So let me become a very typical type of a teacher so that I can make understand to you all. So let's assume that a property is first time sold. So a property is owned by a person called Amit, and he is selling property to Priya. So Amit is selling the property to Priya. Now understand that whenever a transaction is happening in a blockchain technology or a blockchain network, the first transaction is given, each transaction is given a name called hash. So every transaction is given a name called hash. So we'll be giving a hash, it's like a file name. So since the property has been sold for the first time, there is no previous record of it. And now a hash is assigned, which is ABC123. Now the idea is that every new transaction related to the same property has to have an extension of this hash. So let's say this Amit has sold his property to Priya and a hash is generated, which is ABC123. Now Priya is selling the property to Rohit, and the hash, because Priya was ABC123, the new hash is generated DEF456. Now please understand that this is in sequence ABC, DEF, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what the blockchain is going. A chain is created. Okay, there is no deviation. Now Rohit sells the property to Neha, DEF 456 GHI 789. DEF GHI 456 789. Neha sells the property to Rahul, which is GHI 789, JKL 10 11 12. Rahul sells to Anjali, JKL 10 11 12, and then MNO 13 14 15. So this is how a blockchain technology works. Now, this record, all these 5 people will be having. All these 5 people, because a peer-to-peer network, all these 5 people will be having. And if a government body also becomes a peer network, government will also have the access to this one. Now, it is very clear that we can look into the entire history of a property, how the property was sold from one person to the other person, and it can resolve lot of court disputes. So let's see what happens next. Now I'm inserting one error term into this whole thing. Now, this is how the blockchain analytics works as well. So same example, Amit sells property to Priya, ABC123, ABC123. The next series has to be DEF456. So this is DEF456. After DEF456, GHI789 should come. So GHI789 is coming. Now, after GHI789, suddenly there is a altered data. Rohit sells property to Neha, Neha sells property to Amit, and there is an alteration. How I can see the alteration? Because the series has been broken. Now the series has been broken. The blockchain has been broken. So Amit sold the property, Neha sold the property to Amit. Suddenly we see the name that Rahul sells property to Anjali. Previous Neha sold the property to Amit actually, but suddenly we don't know how the property had reached to Rahul. We see that Rahul is selling the property, the same property to Anjali. Now, if I am a blockchain analyst, what I will do is that I will look into the entire map and I'll go back and I'll find out that actually the problem is lying here. It means the till block 3, everything was working fine. The problem has happened in block 4. So I have done this one already for you, but as a blockchain analyst, this is going to be the job of the analyst, that how he is going to identify this error. So this is what we are doing in the blockchain technology. I believe that it is now clear to you that how blockchain works and how we can find out the error. Now, if anything has to be altered here, now the entire peer network has to get associated. Now let's understand that how it is working in various industries so that you can find out that how you can use it for the industry of your choice and how the industry of your choice can get benefited with the blockchain technology. So first of all, financial services, this is very important. Already we have the example of cryptocurrency, which is happening. So there is enhanced security. Whenever there is any problem with any point of time, it can be immediately detected. Now with the modern technology, what is happening is that we are imbibing the blockchain technology with the AI technology. So AI is able to detect the errors instantly. So it is minimizing the human efforts actually. So you are able to detect the fraud or anything which is happening instantly. Then we are doing a very streamlined transaction. Now, for example, if you have to send money to the country where I am living right now, Oman, you have to deposit the money in your bank. Your bank deposits the money to a central bank, and the central bank deposits the money to one bank which is taking care of the cross-border transactions. It can be HSBC, it can be any other international bank. So they are doing the international transactions, and then that bank transfers the money to the central bank of the country where I am living, and the central bank transfers the money to my bank, and my bank's head office transfers the money to my branch office. So what is happening is that so many links are associated, because of which very often the transaction gets delayed. And many times it is becoming costly also, because so many intermediaries are involved in between. But if blockchain technology is there, like cryptocurrencies, it is instant. You don't require any sort of cross-border technology. And that is the reason cryptocurrencies are getting so much of prominence in the modern time. So, and since there are peer-to-peer system is associated, there are kind of regulation which is associated. There is know your customer known as KYC, then anti-money laundering act regulations, and all those things are there. So what happens is that there is an improved compliance, and the best part is that the detection is very fast. Wherever a fraud has happened, wherever an error has happened, the detection is very, very fast. So financial services, blockchain technology is working very smoothly. Similarly, in supply chain management, many of you, since you are in India, you will be knowing that if you are buying any product from Amazon or Flipkart, you instantly you get to know the latest update about your product. So your product is packed, your product is picked up, your product is in the transit, your product has reached the local distribution point, your product is out for delivery, and the product is delivered to you. If you see all these steps, they all are blockchains. These all are blockchains. Your product is picked up, the product is packed, the product is picked up, the product is in transit, the product has reached to the regional headquarters, from the regional headquarters it reached to the local headquarters, and from the local headquarters it is out for delivery, and then it is finally delivered to you. So what you can see is that you can actually see the journey of the product, how it is started and how it is delivered to you. Similarly, in the modern time, one of the biggest issue that we are facing is sustainability. Many of us, we want to buy green products, but we are not sure the origin of it. We are not sure the kind of food that we are eating, especially. So since people are becoming very conscious about the kind of food that we are eating today, uh, through blockchain technology, it becomes very transparent and traceable that what was the origin of my food. So from where the food was produced, what was the raw material used, what was the source of that raw material, and how finally the food was processed, it was packed, and it was delivered to me. So the entire journey of a food becomes very, very transparent and traceable. Then the next issue is that since we are able to streamline everything through a supply chain process, what we are doing is that we are reducing the paperwork. So blockchain technology actually lowers the paperwork because everything is digital. What it further does is that it is lowering your operational costs and minimizing the risk of errors or discrepancies. So whatever errors or discrepancies are there, it can get minimized. And if somebody is trying to supply you a duplicate product, it can also get prevented because there is a counterfeit prevention. So you cannot counterfeit a product because it's almost impossible. I'm saying almost impossible because we are humans. Humans are smart. So people will find out some way to do it, but it's almost impossible to do this one. So what happens is that you get authentic products every time. So blockchain, please understand, is a method to minimize the risk, minimize the chances of error. So it helps in combating the proliferation or counterfeit products in the market. In healthcare sector, it is very, very dominant now. Now, most of the healthcare centers, they are coming up with the healthcare network. So I don't know about India right now, but the network to which I'm connected, it's called MedNets, Medical Network, MedNets. So what MedNets does is that MedNets is a network of hospitals working in around 20-25 countries, including India. And what they do is that there is a centralized record of everything. So for example, I go to a doctor and he prescribes me a blood test. Okay, and there is a blood report which I am having. And if I think that I need to change my doctor and I need to refer to a new doctor, and the new doctor doesn't accept the blood test report which I have given to him, he asks me again to go for a blood test. This can get minimized when the healthcare sector is jointly or it is connected through a blockchain technology. So what they do is, so since everything is connected through a blockchain technology, every hospital in that block will have the records. So for example, last year I got my gallbladder removed because there was stones in it. I went to one of the hospitals which was having which is connected to the network, and instantly they identified that my gallbladder was removed by one of the hospitals in that network. So what is happening is that there is a data integrity. They had the complete access of my medical record. Since they had the complete access to my medical record, they knew what kind of things I used, what were the other issues which I was doing, and they also know the kind of medicines that I received, the kind of treatment I received, the number of days I stayed in the hospital. So all these things are there. So what it does is that there is data integrity, there is a heavy security, then there is interoperability of the entire issues. So you have the exchange of the data, what kind of medical records and everything, whatever was there. And the clinical research and trials can get also benefited to this one because you have the access to the data. So once you have access to the data, you are able to do things in a far, far, far better way. So in real estate, I gave one example already, but if I further have to go through it, then you need to understand that this is blockchain. Whenever we are going for real estate, many times the problem which happens, especially in the countries like India, I don't know about the South India, but in North India, it's very common that there are property related disputes, that you buy a property and suddenly a person comes, he says that no, I am the actual owner. The person from whom you have purchased the property, he is a fraud owner, he is not the actual owner. And then what happens is that property goes under litigation, it goes to the court of law for resolving the issue. Through blockchain technology, what we can do is we can look into the history of the property. So who is the owner? Before this owner, who was the owner? Before that owner, who was the owner? So I can see the complete link. So I can see that who is the actual owner of this property, and from the person whom I'm going to buy the property, he is a real owner or not. Through this one, you can reduce the chances of fraud. So when the fraud is reduced, the court cases will go down. It will save money for the people. There will be access to investment opportunity because it's the real estate. It is considered to be one of the very profitable investment opportunity for the people. So when this is happening, you are able to invest to the real estate. You have the access to the investment opportunities. Investment opportunities are coming on your way. So there will be greater chances that businesses and the investment and the businesses will thrive. So that's for the real estate. So what happens in the blockchain analytics? Let's just have an understanding of it. So blockchain analytics, it actually takes the advantage of the blockchain's tech transferability. So since the data, everything is transparent, it is peer-to-peer in the network. So what happens is that you are able to have the access to the blockchain data. Then what happens is that you are able to have the enhanced trust and verification because the analysts, they are continuously analyzing the blockchain records and they are able to authenticate how the blockchain data has happened and what was the history of it. So then there is a comprehensive data analysis and you can find out a view of the transactional data and you can find out that how if anywhere the error or alteration has happened, where the error has happened, and you can go back there and you can resolve the entire issue. So it is very important that we should have the blockchain analytics because if we are having the blockchain analysis, what happens is that fraud detection and preventions, we are able to detect the fraud very quickly and we are able to prevent from the fraud. Then we are also able to have a compliance and regulatory reporting. So in case we are responsible to any of the regulatory authorities, we are able to take care of it. So you must be knowing that most of the banks, they have something called as Know Your Customers regulations, which is commonly known as KYC. So it is one of the regulation requirement. So whenever something is happening like this, you can always go for the compliance and regulatory reporting. And then it is very important for the business intelligence and decision making because we are not just sticking to what is happening right now in the industry. We also want something to happen in future. So when we are going for future, more and more innovation has to be happened and blockchain technology can help you to use business intelligence and go for better decision making in future. So few things that you need to understand right now is that it is what we are doing is that we are, whatever was the limitation of the traditional methods, we are enhancing it through blockchain's transparency and immutability. Then we are able to enhance trust, verify transactions, and gain valuable insight for fraud detection, compliance, and business intelligence, because of which the customer satisfaction and loyalty is going to increase. Further, if you are able to use the blockchain technology properly at this point of time, you will be moving ahead in life and you will be harnessing better technologies in times to come. So blockchain is something which has to be used for you for times to come. So now there are two types of blockchain analytics that we need to understand. So the first one is on-chain analytics, which I just showed you through one example, that you just look into the chain, how the chain has happened. There are something called as off-chain analytics because not everything is visible through the chain, because there are many things which is happens behind the scenes, behind the curtains. So there is something called as off-chain analytics which explains the off-chain data. So there are so many other tools which are associated, like for example, sentiment analysis, social media monitoring. So there are so many things which is happening behind the curtain, which is not visible through the blockchain analytics. So if somebody is sad, for example, suddenly the market crashes, blockchain data will tell me that market has crashed. Yesterday the value was 100, today the value has is become 10. So this 90% decline in the value, it is visible by blockchain. But why this 90% decline has happened? That is something which will be explained by off-chain analytics. Maybe there is a news, maybe there is a problem, maybe issue is with the sentiments, maybe the issue is with the new rules and regulations issued by the government. So something is there. So that will be given to us. So what we are going to do in blockchain analytics, in very simple words, it is just like any normal research. So we did collect the data, we process the data, and we visualize the data. We see where the problem has happened. So data collection method, just like any other method, it's the same. The only thing is that we take the data through the blockchains, which is in a very simple word, which is transaction informations. So this can be by way of transaction amount, timestamps, wallet addresses. So all these things are there, which helps me to use the blockchain technology. Then for the off-chain data, we try to look into the additional on-chain things, that something has happened, what was the news which was happening behind it. So the market has crashed, why the market has crashed? Was there any news associated? Was there decline? Was there any new rules which were announced by the government? Was there a war which has happened between two countries? Was there because of any new social reforms that has happened in the country? So something. So what we do simply, just like any other research, we normalize the data, we aggregate the data and we try to enrich it, and then we try to do the statistical analysis and modeling. And once all these things are done, we are done with our blockchain analytics. Very important thing is the data visualization tool, that how we are visualizing the data, because if everything is presented in the form of charts, people will not be, it is not very customer, or it is not very user friendly. So what we do is that we try to come up with visualization tools, which includes interactive dashboards. So there is an interactive dashboard which is clickable. So sorry, you can click at various points and you can find out where the problem has happened. There's something called as charts and graph. I don't think I need to explain charts and graph to the people of business and commerce. But still, what happens is the chart and graph, it makes it visually appealing and attractive, and it is more convenient for the human eyes to see where the problems have happened. There is something called as geospatial mapping. So what we are doing is that recently you must have seen that many people, they click the photograph with a geo stamp. It tells you which longitude and latitude a particular thing was happening. So that is what a geospatial mapping is, that it tells you the geographical data where a particular thing has happened, so that you can pinpoint that issues, that from where the problem has happened. So blockchain analytics is applicable in variety of things. Right now, there are 4 areas which is where it is used predominantly. The first one is cryptocurrency market analysis. The second one is supply chain management. Third is fraud detection and prevention. And last one is regulatory compliance, where it is happening. But as I mentioned before, that the amount of opportunities in blockchain technology is numerable, it's innumerable actually, and it's coming up with a lot of potential, and you can see how you can use the blockchain technology in a far better way. So let's see a practical scenario, a last example, that if you are a blockchain analyst and you are working in a cryptocurrency exchange, you have to ensure that everyday transaction is happening properly. And if there is any anomalies which has happened, any error which has happened, you are going to see that the problem does not occur. So one day you find that there is a suspicious transaction where the hash value seems to be missing or altered. So I believe I don't have to tell you the hash value now. Hash is that every transaction, it is given with the name of hash. So what you will do is you will try to begin the transaction in the question. You will see the sender, receiver, time spent, and hash value associated. So just like the previous data which I showed you, you will see that whether everything is going in sequence or not. If there is a sequence associated, it's okay. If there is no sequence associated and suddenly you find that a particular sequence is broken, so you will go for something which is you will find out that particular issue and you will see that how you can use it. So there are two tools which is available for you. The first tool is called Blockchain Explorer. So it is the transaction from where you are now and from where it is started, and you analyze the entire link, entire chain, and you find out where the particular problem has happened. The next thing is peer verification. You can engage your peers into the blockchain because, as I mentioned before, the blockchain is distributed among the peer members. So you can see the peer members and you can seek their verification also. And once you have done this one, there is something called as metadata analytics. Metadata analytics basically means that what was the exact, who is the person, who was the owner, from where it has gone, what was the transaction size, what was the transaction fees, what was the block height. If there is any anomalies in the metadata, it can be taken care of. And then you can go for collaboration through the law enforcement agencies and you can find out. So once you have found out where the exact problem is, you can take the exam, you can take help from the cyber branch of the police or the law enforcement agencies, and you can take actions against the person who has done this one. So with these words, I believe I was given 40 minutes of time. I don't know how much time has lapsed, but with this one, I end my presentation. If there is any question, any doubt, I'll be more than happy to address. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, any doubt, please, I'll be happy to address it. This was a small effort to explain to you what the blockchain technology is in simple words, and how the business and commerce student can use it in their own entrepreneurial ventures. If there are any questions, I'll be very happy to address. Thank you so much.
Participants, now the stage is open. You can put forward your questions, which will be cleared by our keynote speaker.
I hope my voice was coming to you because I don't know. Even I cannot hear my voice sometime.
It was audible, sir.
Thank you so much.
Anybody who would like to question him? Please raise your hands. We'll provide you the mic.
Sir, I would like to put forward a question to you.
Sure.
Sir, can you just share us some of the myths that has been in the blockchain analytics that we use? Are there any myth regarding the blockchain analysis?
There are many actually. First of all, I remember around 3 years before when I wanted to invest in cryptocurrencies. We had people, we had team of economists. I asked them whether it is safe to invest in cryptocurrencies. So one of the common thing which came forward was that don't invest because there is no regulatory authority associated. There is no central bank which is going to govern it. It's a big fraud. So that time I stopped investing in cryptocurrencies. because we found that there is no central bank who will take the guarantee, who will take care of everything. Because when we are investing money in bank, we always know that every bank has been guaranteed by government of India. For in case of India, or in case of international bank, there is an international agency which is always behind these banks. So a portion of people's money is always safe. Yes, it is true that for blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, there is no intermediaries associated. But now, over a period of time, blockchain technology has evolved. So the first myth, that is that there is no regulatory authority, it's a myth actually. Now, for most of the blockchain activities that you are doing, even the government is using blockchain technology, and it is supporting government blockchain technology, and they have associated regulatory mechanism to take care of it. To some extent, for the cryptocurrencies that we are having, still the blockchain, still the government, many countries have not endorsed it properly. But if you see, since there are a lot of peers involved, there are a lot of people who are involved in buying and selling of cryptocurrencies. What happens is that you cannot alter the data. It has been spread to millions of people now, and one person cannot alter it. So eventually, the money is safe. When I say money is safe, it means it doesn't talk about the value of money, because the value of cryptocurrency may go up and down, but your transaction is safe. One thing. Second thing is that we have limited many people when they are talking about blockchain technology, they only refer to cryptocurrencies. They are not taking care, or they are not talking about the other advents of blockchain technology. So as I mentioned in my presentation, that there are enormous opportunities for the blockchain technology. It is not just limited to cryptocurrencies. You can use it for the banking transaction. You can use it for the stock market transaction. You can use it for the real estate transaction. You can use it for the medical reports that you are having. I have lived in India, and I know how much painful it is that when you go to one doctor, he gives you a test, and then when you visit to another doctor, he gives you another, again, the same type of test, because they are not connected in the same network. So now it's good that certain network based medical system is now evolving, where the blockchain technology has been used. Then our supply chain, most of you who are ordering products from online, you must be knowing that you can now track your products easily. People many a time, they don't believe that it's a blockchain technology. Actually, it's a blockchain technology through which the tracking and everything has happened. So the myths are there, but the thing is that it has happened now. So whether there's a dialogue from KGF, if I have to use it in your context, is that blockchain hates me, but I hate blockchain, but blockchain loves me. So this is what is happening now. You cannot avoid blockchain, so it's better that you become part of the blockchain now, start embracing it. It is just like AI, that whether you like it or you dislike it, but you have to accept it. So this is what the blockchain is doing right now, and you have to use blockchain, and that's where the entrepreneurial opportunities are coming in. You have to find out the ways and methods where the blockchain technology can be used in a sector where you are working. So you can find out. There are no so these days there's a concept of blockchain agencies also, where you can come up with a blockchain agency and you can start tracking what was the journey of a product which is delivered to you. So the chances are enormous, especially in the green practices. Blockchain is working very fine. Very often we get the news that the product which you thought was a green product, which was an organic product, it turned out that it's not organic. So with blockchain, this problem can also be resolved. So I'm using one honey right now in my pocket. So it's known as Manuka honey. I don't know whether you can see it or not. So the origin of this honey is from New Zealand. Through this Manuka honey, I can track whether it has exactly come from New Zealand or not. I don't have to just depend on the made in country, something like that. So the country's origin is New Zealand. Through blockchain technology, I can track whether it has actually happened, it is produced in New Zealand or not. So it helps you to cross check and verify the product that you are consuming, whether it complies with the promise it is making on the packaging or not. So all these things can be done through blockchain technology very efficiently. I hope it addresses to your question, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your explanation.
We have another question, sir.
Sure.
What is your opinion on the world nations accepting blockchain as a medium of exchange?
There are two things actually we need to understand. One is political, another one is transactional. So when I say transactional, it is all about convenience. The political thing is that you need to understand that how the international geopolitics works. International geopolitics works on the relationship between two countries. Now, for example, when the Russia-Ukraine war happened, America put a lot of sanctions on Russia. So they put a lot of sanctions on Russia, saying that we are putting the sanction. You are not going to buy anything from Russia. Most of the countries should avoid buying from Russia. Now here comes a small problem: blockchain technology. Now, since America has put the sanctions, what it does is that it asks all the banks which are channeled through America to monitor the transaction which is happening to Russia. If any transaction is happening to Russia, they block everything. So there were billions of dollars of Russian bank accounts which were seized by American banks. So there were billions of dollars of it was Russian money which was seized by American banks. Now here comes blockchain technology, and this is where it bypasses the entire mechanism. So what America did, the sanctions and everything can be bypassed through blockchain technology, and this is the reason why the country level politics does not allow blockchain to happen, because it does not involve the intermediaries. So it is peer-to-peer network. If Russia did that one actually. Russia and China, they are quite efficient in using the blockchain technology. It never surfaces on the academic forum like this, or the mass media communications. But what they have done is that they actually utilize the blockchain technology, and that is the reason Bitcoin is increasing. If you see, Bitcoin is skyrocketed after Russia-Ukraine war. And one of the news which is about the off-link analysis is that basically it happened because Russia and Chinese companies, they started using blockchain technology in accepting the cryptocurrencies. So that is one of the reasons that politically many countries are not accepting it in the financial regulations. But yes, the same country which I was referring to are accepting in spreading the blockchain technology for the domestic purposes, in the supply chain management, in the healthcare system. So they are trying to utilize the blockchain technology. So if the countries are coming up with blocks, like for example, day before yesterday, Donald Trump has taken up as the president of United States of America. Now he is trying to put sanctions on the BRIC nations. So those of you who don't know, BRIC nation is Brazil, India, Russia, China, and South Africa. So he's trying to put a control over BRICS nation. This can be bypassed through blockchain technology. So if these 5 nations, they form a block of their own selves and they start trading among these blocks by way of blockchain technology, the same issue can be bypassed. So the country which are suffering right now, it's because of the blockchain, because they are not harnessing the benefits of blockchain technology. And that is the reason they are suffering. But apart from that, the rest of the countries which are using it, they are doing it quite better. I'm living in Oman. There is GCC. So I find a lot of benefits of blockchain technology because I visited Saudi Arabia last week, and I found that they just scanned my passport. They did not require my visa or anything. They just scanned my passport and every record was there. So same thing happened when I was coming back to Oman. They just scanned my passport. I did not have to show them my visa or other things. So this is happening because they all are connected through a peer network. Since you are connected through a peer network, what happens is that the information is shared across the network. So the person knows that yes, he is my resident and you have these records, and that entire thing becomes very seamless. I avoided using the personal based checkpoints. Otherwise, I could have used e-gates also. If you go to the e-gate, you just scan your ID card or your passport and the gate opens for you. So the chances of human interaction is going down. So number of labor required for these kind of work, which is just wastage of human efforts, okay, is going to get minimized by blockchain technology. I hope it addresses to your question.
Very good afternoon, sir. One last question, and this is
Please.
not related to the topic, sir. It is a clarification about your profile. And going through your profile, it was truly remarkable, sir. And one thing made me and a few of our colleagues is, oh, and what is that was you are listed as the top 2% scientists in the worldwide. And how did you do this, and what strategies or practices contributed to you to make this achievement?
Let me take my lozenge first. Actually, you have to understand how these kind of matrices works. Uh, when you talk about the top 2% scientists in the world, the list is released by two organizations jointly. The first organization is Stanford University, and the second organization is Elsevier. Now, many of you must be knowing that Scopus database is managed and owned by Elsevier. So they have a matrix. Uh, you go for Google, you just Google top 2% scientists, and there'll be Excel sheet which you can download. And there's a detailed matrices about there. So in short, it talks about the number of publications a person has made during a time frame. Number two, the number of people who have cited this person. Number three is the number of high ranking officials who have cited this person. Number four is that how many times this person has appeared in the search list of other people. Number five is his collaboration network, that through with how many people in how many countries this person has collaborated. Number five is the H index. That H index basically talks about that how many papers of yours have been cited for that number of times. So for example, if my H index is 14, it means there are 14 papers of mine which is cited at least 14 times. Then it also talks about that how many papers were there where you were first author, it has a different weightage. How many papers were there in which you were the sole author, it has a different weightage. How many papers were there where you have was the co-author or the last author. So every weightage is there. So it's a very long Excel sheet and a lot of calculations are there. So as on record, there are like 15 million scientists in the world. So out of this 15 million scientists, if you calculate 2%, it comes like 300,000 people. So my rank was last year was 2,46,000. It's not very great, but out of 15 million people, I was among the top 2% as per that record. So when this record is published, they only talk about only the 2% scientists in the world is their names are only mentioned in that record. So it is country-wise also, it is internationally. So globally, I was in 2%. In Oman, I was among top 0.01%. And from my own university, I was the only one to be listed in this list. So this is how the matrix is calculated. So the strategies which you can adopt to get into this list is that you need to maximize your Scopus publication. So if you are able to maximize your Scopus publication, that is one chance. It's not easy, number one, because Scopus publication takes time. When I say it's not easy, it's all because of time, because you really have to be very patient. In the year 2024, I published around 24 papers in Scopus, but I did not write 24 papers in 2024 alone. It was a paper which was written in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. So sometimes one paper takes 2 years of time to get published. Sometimes it takes 1 year of time to get published. So it is really a matter of patience actually when you're publishing, because there are a lot of revisions. Just yesterday, I received an email. So from one top ranked journal, my paper was there for 2 years. And suddenly the journal said that we cannot publish it, not because of the quality of the paper, just because we are not continuing with the publication anymore. So our agreement with the publishing agency is now over. So since the publication, our contract is over, we cannot continue publishing the papers now. So if you see, 2.5 years of waiting time and 1.5 years of preparing time. So around 4 years of time that we invest in one paper is gone wasted. Luckily, my father is a lawyer, and my father-in-law is a lawyer, and I learned one thing from him is that never depend on one case. So when you are starting working on a paper, try to work on series of papers. At least work on 2-3 papers at one point of time. So what will happen is that paper writing will become part of your activity, daily life. So right now, for example, I'm part of around 5-6 projects. So what happens is that every project we keep on working on, and we are able to submit a paper. We don't even keep track that what papers is completed and what papers is not. But we keep on writing. Whenever a paper is ready, we push it to a journal. Then we wait for the review comments. If it happens or not, it's a different thing. So with this, what happens is that now every month I get 2 to 3 publications in Scopus. Every month I'm submitting 2 to 3 publications for Scopus also. So with this, what happens is a routine and a process is set now. Now it does not mean that every month I'm writing 2 3 papers. So one papers get rejected, we work on that paper again, we submit to the new venue. Again, the paper gets rejected, we see the review comments, we see how we can improve it, and we resubmit it. Then simultaneously, we are working on some of the books also. I can share the details of those books as well. If you are interested, you can also contribute on those books. So that is also one of the very important area for publication as well. So right now I'm working with Tiller and Francis. I'm also working with Bentham Science. I'm working with IGI Global. So you really have to build up a good rapport with these top publishing houses so that you can publish papers through them. And once you have established yourself, paper publication becomes relatively easy as compared to a beginner, because number one, you understand the quality standards of these publication house. So your style of writing and your quality of writing also improves. Number two is that you know your subject content, because if you have written like 70 80 papers, it means you had content. That was the reason you have written something. So these are the matrices actually. The only mantra is that you need to become active on Scopus as much as possible.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful session on blockchain, which has broadened our understanding of this transformative technology. We extend our sincere thanks for your time and effort in delivering a comprehensive and informative session on blockchain, which has been truly enlightening. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, by this we are officially closing our sessions for the 2-day international conference. In a short while, we'll be beginning our valediction ceremony. Kindly lend your patience. Thank you, sir, for joining.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish you all the best, all the participants. Thank you so much. I'll take your leave now.
Our pleasure, sir. Thank you.